don't care. It's South London, it's crazy over there. Nobody likes us, we don't care. Welcome to the jungle, there's lions out here. Lions out here, we don't care. It's crazy over here. We don't care. Hey yo, I'm Messi with my left, Ronaldo with my right.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of the Millwall Premier League Kicks podcast. I'll kick off the introductions. You've got me, Tom Rolt, current diver officer and former Kicks officer. Yeah, good times. Over to you guys.
Yep, Gerry Otim, former Kicks participant and current Kicks officer. Been doing it for 5 years or so now.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, Hassan Ibrahim, former Kicks participant, now alternative provision tutor, and I'm a sessional sports football coach.
Love that, thank you.
Yeah, former Kicks participant, also a session worker all over the project through Millwall Kicks, alternative provision and so on.
Perfect. That is the all-star lineup for today, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking all things COVID-19, isolation and football, especially around the Premier League Kicks project, and getting to know who is in this meeting today. So, who wants to kick off? We're going to be talking all things COVID for the first part. So, isolation, how's it treating you, gentlemen? What's been going on? What you been doing with yourself? How you been staying active?
Yeah, I'll probably go first. I've been spending a lot of time with the family, workouts. Obviously, I'm sort of grateful that I've got a little space in my garden. So I've literally just been doing 45-minute workouts, and also doing it with my mum, sisters, and brothers. So it's been quite enjoyable. Quick routine. Been sort of like researching into different sort of training methods. Obviously, being myself, I play part-time football, so just like implementing different things into my sort of regime. So like yoga, Pilates and Tabata training, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's been all right, I've been adjusting. Like the first 4 or 5 days, I was sort of struggling. I was just walking around the house, like just going upstairs, going downstairs, going in the garden, come back in. Just didn't know what to do. But I think I sort of adjusted now because I'm normally a person that's always on the move. So now when you're putting me into a confined sort of space, it was just it was a bit of a change for me, but all is well, man. Grateful.
Good.
Yeah.
Happy days. Good to hear. No, good. I think the routine's important. Routine's been really important, and just maintaining a little bit of focus and doing whatever you can just to get through this period. No, but it's good. It's good that you've been active as. Vic, what's been happening?
Yeah, man, I've been right. Obviously, my final year of uni as well, so I've just had a dissertation last week. Hopefully that's good. I've been doing a lot of reading as well, outside of football, trying to away from schools and football things, but just stuff to do with the brain, the business world and things like that.
Yeah.
Workout as well, getting with my brother, one of my players as well. So just giving him for the next season and what he needed to improve on from last season.
Good.
Also, just I've got myself a back now as well. So when I need to go, just get my headphones on and off and down.
That. So. No, it's quality. Good. Focus again. Found what you needed to do. It's what you need to do to get through this period. Gaza, how about you, my man?
I'm still working, to be fair, from home, which is different. It's not always cracked out to be. But you make do with what you have to, in terms of the situation we find ourselves in now. So I've been trying to split it up, though I haven't necessarily been at my laptop for 9 hours of the day.
No.
I've been trying to work out as well. It's just not healthy to do that. It's not practical.
Not at all.
So been skipping, going for jogs. I want to get a bike, so that's a good chat from Vic. Reading books, more so away from football, just to expand my knowledge, vocabulary, and so on and so forth. And that's been it really. A lot of cooking as well, actually. Funny enough,
love that. Go on.
I think it'll be something I'll do, but there's been a lot of spare time outside of sort of the working hours. So why not try and then feel that you might not have had before. That's me really.
Good. Good. Yeah, no, I think for me, boys, I'll echo it. Really, what you've all said is it's just all been about routine and just keeping a bit of focus, just to secure and protect that sanity. Really, very much the same. Just been checking in with the lads work wise. Because I'm still active, still even though front line not out there, but still on the phones, emails, reviews, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, a bit of working out, walking the dog, reading books. Yeah, it's been good. It's been like a little retreat for me, but yeah, hopefully normality can resume very, very, very quickly. But in general, everyone's coping all right. Everyone's good, yeah?
Yeah, everyone's all
yeah, most definitely.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to try and get on to a subject that has been hindered by COVID-19, which is football, which is what we all know and what we all love. So I want to talk about first footballing memories, gents. Who wants to start? Who wants to go first on this one?
What, just in general?
Yeah, first footballing memory. And why was it significant for you? And how did you feel?
I'd probably say when I scored my first Sunday League goal.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I'd say because it was just different. You start off playing football just with your friends, and now you're getting into an environment where it's sort of, you could sort of relate it to a game now. Like, so it's not just knockouts, it's not just Kirby's and all the different games that we played in the street. Now it's find yourself a team. Find yourself a team. You start knowing who's the best player, who's the strongest, who's the quickest, who's got the best shot. Now you're in a sort of proper sort of environment. So once I've got into there, met new people, because when you're that age, you only know people around your area and at your school. Apart from that, you don't know anyone else. So now you're going into a different sort of environment. He comes from South. He comes from just probably down there, Lewisham, Bermondsey, whatever you want to call it. And then, so once I found the team, and then I obviously started off as a striker. And then once I scored my first goal, and obviously my dad was there, my little brother was there. So, no, it was decent. I'd probably say that was my first sort of decent run. I'll never forget. We played, I can't remember the name. It was like Lumminwell or something crazy like that.
Okay.
Anyway, that was, I'll never forget. I can still remember it to now.
Can you talk us through it?
I think it was just, listen, back then, unbelievable pace. Just put it in behind. Put it in behind. I'm getting in there. Honestly, I was the fastest guy on the block. Listen, I was off. I was about 3'2". I was just gone. You know what I mean? So they just put him behind. And I think I went around the keeper and I just slotted it. Just like,
How did you slow down? How did you slow down?
Pardon?
Why did you slow down?
Oh, Vic's harsh. Vic's harsh.
Why did I slow down? Okay, I can tell you exactly why I slowed down.
Oh, okay.
So,
fair enough.
Literally, so carrying out with my my sort of Sunday league career, where did I start off with? I started off with just a local team. And then when I was about 13, 14, I stuck with Downham Village. Yes. One of my teachers at school, he was one of my tutors. His brother wanted to run a team, so he came into our school. This was Jeffrey Chaucer at the time. Now it's called Globe Academy. He came in looking for just loads of talent just to sort of gather. So he spoke to me. I think one of the teachers recommended me, and then I went down there and we sort of formed a team. But this is. I was one of the boys from South. A lot of the boys were South, but it was like Southwest. So we're talking that sort of forwards. Then you've got Toast Hill. Then you've got Dulwich. So they were that side of the South. Do you know what I mean? So we met up. It was a bit hostile at first because no one knew no one. Then we bonded together. It was decent. Bonded together. And then we just went on a literally just cruise, man. Just game after game after game, just W's. Like, we literally had everything. We had the guy that had the skills, we had the guy that had the pace, we had the guy that you can't get past because he's just too strong. We had a decent right back, we had a decent left back, decent goalkeeper. We had it all. Do you know what I mean? So literally, so we went seasons just winning loads of games. We won a league twice, a few cups. But I'll never forget one cup that we were in. I think it was London Cup, and we got to the quarterfinals. And we played this team, literally. They're all white boys. Literally. And they absolutely bopped off the pitch.
The Germans. You played the Germans.
I'll never forget because every single player on the pitch was white. And literally, they were so drilled and so set up well. We had to admire them. When we came off the pitch, we said that was a proper team.
Yeah.
They literally we couldn't get nowhere near them. And we were getting so frustrated why we couldn't get nowhere near them. But they just literally pass. I think they beat us 3-0, but it's the most comfortablest 3-0 ever.
Yeah.
You know what's so interesting? What's interesting, sorry, I had to interrupt you. You've said two things that I think we can all resonate with. And I think the first one was the whole making friends via football. And I think that's kind of defines the program that we used to attend and that we now sort of work on. Yeah. That's the power of football, in that it just brings people from different areas together who you may have never met, and you end up making friendships for life just through football.
Yeah.
And I think the second one was the cultural difference in terms of how people from our culture and sort of where we come from and how we play football is, and it's a completely different way to how other people have been coached and trained. And I guess that comes from our environments as kids, sort of ball cages, which we'll talk about later, compared to like a lot of the boys that you may have faced in that game that day who were playing Sunday League football from the age of probably 7 up until when you faced them. And it's a big cultural difference in terms of footballing knowledge and footballing upbringing. Upbringing is the perfect one, actually. But yeah, that was interesting, man. That was really interesting. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah.
No, it's cool. That's why I'll never forget that game. Obviously, the two reasons. One, not because of colour or anything. No. But one, because they're a really good side. Yeah. To be honest, I thought no one could beat us at the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Obviously, there was a few other teams, but they weren't in our league. So until we played them, I couldn't say who would beat who and who would beat if they'd beat us or not. Yeah. So that was the two reasons why I'd never forget them. One, because they were very good footballing side. Second one is because they beat us in the cup, and the third one because every single person on the pitch was white. But anyway, fast forwarding going in that season, we had a few players were sort of inconsistent with sort of like contributing to subs, what you call them times. So the payment of like training and games on a Sunday, and which, to be fair, like obviously this is probably the conversation that we're probably going to speak about going down the sort of the call, but some players were just weren't paying. So luckily Stuart was the manager at the time. He was sort of like funding it from his own pocket, but I think it got to a stage where he couldn't do it no more. It was like it's the repeated same sort of players that wasn't doing their bit, or parents not supporting their kids doing their bit. And then I just, like, it was so weird the way he done it. Like we won the game, and then literally just sent us a message on the Sunday. No, on Sunday, I think it was Sunday night. Yeah, literally on the same day, Sunday night. Listen, lads, I'm going to scrap the team. Like a long message just talking about obviously the lack of sort of support he's had from parents, and he can't do it no more. To be fair, he bought us one kit, red kit, never forget. It looked like Liverpool's Nike. Like we were so excited to wear it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we only played 2 games in it literally before he had made that call, and then literally, so he done that, and I was like, what's gonna happen? Like, I looked at the message for about 20 minutes. I read it 3 times, so I just know that I'm reading exactly what he just said. So there's no sort of understanding. And then literally, I was like, no, he's proper scrapped it. And this was like halfway during the season, and now I'm just there like, okay, what next? So when you're young, you don't have any sort of connects. The only connects you have is via your parents. So if your parents can sort of help you out, or sometimes you just made a neighbor or someone from school, like, so the example I gave you, that my tutor, his brother was, do you know what I mean? So that was the opportunity there. So literally he done that, cancelled that, and then I was just chilling. So 1 week went past, 2 weeks went past, and I'm not training. I'm training probably in school, the school matches in the area, and that's about it. So there's no sort of competitive games where I was probably, if you take the week that I normally have if I had my team, I would have trained once and a game. So training on Saturday and then training on Sunday, and then put that with the training in school and training outside. That's probably 6 or 7 times that I'm training during the week. But now you've taken about 3 sessions out of me. I'm just chilling. So literally, without even me knowing, I was gaining weight. Like literally gaining weight. There was a kebab shop near my area. I was there every weekend. Kebab and chips.
Oh, Hassan, you again? Yeah.
Listen, they closed down now. They brought another sort of chicken and chip shop guy, but literally I was there. Without knowing it, I was just losing weight. I wasn't developing. I wasn't practicing. I was just playing here and there. And then without me knowing it, I just put on weight. And then when I went back to football now, was like, this pace that I had, I'm not replicating it.
Yeah.
So normally I'd be like, boom, now it's like, I'm taking a bit longer to get there.
Yeah.
So that was how I. And then literally, I'll tell you what's funny enough. I don't know if I met you through there, guy. Was it?
I remember. Yeah. This was it.
Yeah. So this is the next part of it. So now, after that, after that season, I took about a year out, and I thought, I need to get back into it. And then my local team was obviously living in Bermondsey, knowing a few friends. Docklands. So Docklands is a Bermondsey-based team. Yeah. They were in Bacon's training at the time, that sort of Redriff area. Yeah, got put through there, trained really well, played. And then funny enough, the manager just won what was it, Gerry? Under 15s? Under 15s at the time or under 16s? I can't remember.
We didn't go to 16s. I think we went 14s to 16, 14 and 15. I think we did 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, 14 and 15. Anyways, I got there roughly when I was about 14. Yeah, 10ish, that sort of age. And then the manager above, what was his name again, Gerry? Will. He was there when I had my first training session, and then he says, I'm going to have him. And I didn't know who was who at the time, so he said, yeah, you're going to come with me. And then by the time I knew it, when I sort of knew what was going on, it was the year up. So I was thinking, wait, hold on. That's not my year group. That's my year group. And the majority of the boys I knew were in my year. So I'm thinking, nah, you're taking me out of my comfort zone and my environment right now.
Yeah, that was us too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was shy at the time. And then I was like, okay, let me just go with it. So I done it and I got used to it. And then that's where I met Gerry. But I think Gerry had the upper hand over me because he knew a few of the boys already. So he wasn't as shy as probably I was. And then that's where I met him through there. And then training, preparing for the season and whatnot. And then literally we're doing a training session, and then I'm playing up front. And then I think Will's told me you're playing centre mid, but I haven't sort of like fathomed that information yet. So I was like, nah, you didn't tell me I'm playing centre mid. So I'm just gonna put up front anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so I went up front, and then Will was like, Hass, where you going? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're centre midfielder. I'm like, huh?
Oh, cheers, guys.
What's that? Like I've been playing up front for the last seven years. Now you're telling me I'm a centre midfielder. So like literally, even my positioning when we had the ball, I was like up there as a striker. Tom, you probably know him, Gaz will know him, probably Vic will know him.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis.
His name was Chaz Davis.
Mr. Davis. Mr.
Davis, literally. And he unbelievable.
He was a madman. He was unreal, man.
He was. Listen, this guy, I thought,
top player.
If he continues doing this, he's definitely.
He can't not make it. He can't not make it.
Yeah.
You know, a goal scorer of all types.
Yeah.
Volleys, just everything you want. He just Wayne Rooney at the time. I thought, yeah, he was a joke. He was that
good. He would win us games which you couldn't have won
by himself.
Literally.
Literally. So literally when we were playing, I was in line with him. I'm like, oh my days. It's not even me. I knew I was playing centre mid at that time when he told me. Like he told me a second time, Hash, you're playing centre mid. I was like, okay, cool.
Instincts.
But because my body's never been that sort of in the middle sort of figure, my body was taking me to up front. I was like, wow. Yeah. Naturally, I was going that way. I'm like, okay. So now I thought, and then I had a conversation with him after. I said, where do you see me playing and where do you want me to play? He said, you're a centre midfielder. I'm like, so I've got to give my hats off to him till this day because he actually not made me, but that was a transition. He told me I'm playing centre mid, and from now, that's what I've been playing. I turned 26 2 or 3 days ago. And then literally, I thought, okay, I need to sort of get a hold of this centre mid role. And literally, what some of the stuff that I know now. And how I play now is sort of just self-assessment, really. So I used to just watch a load of games, watch players that played my position, like Frank Lampard and whatnot, and just started adjusting. Do you know what I mean? I started getting the hang of things, just your little small details, and that's where it started for me, man. Literally.
I love that. We're going to go on to some other points following on from that in a sec, Has, but we're just going to get Vic's first footballing memory, and then we can bring it all together.
My first footballing memories weren't obviously as footballing, playing as Hass. I've always, at the start, my stuff was always just kick people up, tackle, just, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I joined the game. You know what I mean? And I used to love it.
Yeah.
I remember I went to a team called Waterloo FC, and quite a lot of the boys that have played the game, you know, have come through there, and the talent over there was ridiculous. Ridiculous. And I had joy sitting on the side watching the starting 11 play. There was no in South London, maybe even in London, that could say they can walk into UFC at that time. Like, no one. I think they went unbeaten for 4 years.
Yeah,
the talent
incredible. That's incredible. Wow. Yeah.
The coach they had as well, the coach and the assistant. The team, they just had everything all together behind in the ground. I remember the coach's wife, she was in with all the admin and everything. I just used to sit there, even the year below. You know, it was just a joy to watch, and I think that's followed me all the way through to now where I coach. Yeah. Even though as I've played and I got better and I improved, I've always been able to learn because I started watching the game and listening to the coach on the side, and I took on information. So when I got on the pitch, I was able to relay information better. I played at the back, I was relaying information well to the players in front of me. Even to the point now, like Hass said, with his coach telling him you're a centre midfielder and not a striker. The players I see as well, I look at them, I look at them in the game and I think, they'll be better here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If look at the attributes they've got, they might think they're a left winger. You know, there's a lot of players now, I play, I'm a winger. Not really, mate. You'd be better over here or try this. And it's like, you see, looking at. So, I think my early stages was just, I fell in love by watching it. And if you ask us, even if you don't know already, I could watch any game. Any game. There's always something to take from a game. There's always something to learn. There's always a rationale behind every decision, every situation, every formation. So I think that's my love of the game, and my early memories really, really, really started. I enjoyed playing it because that's amazing as well. I still do myself sometimes with a few of my mates, but watching the game and being part of the tactics and and things like that. Yeah, really. The psychological as well. Getting the best out of players. How to get the best out of players. Just rowing people up. Just making them want to go on and give that extra 10% and things like that. So there's two things that ring that resonate with me straight away. And the first one is that it sounds like from a very young age, you had the mentality and the mindset of a coach, even though you weren't necessarily coaching then, you were doing things that maybe other players weren't. So the fact you said you took joy in watching your teammates play football, even though anyone at age generally would want to be playing. I'm not saying that you didn't. So it's not to take that away from you, but to enjoy watching your teammates play and not feel the urge of why am I not on the pitch, but enjoy watching what they're doing and learning and seeing what they do. It sounds like from a very young age you had the mentality of someone that's going to be a coach or wants to coach football, which is really impressive for someone at a young age. And I think the other thing that you mentioned about sort of character and you knowing you as a person, I'd say you're very much from an old school generation. You remind me of, and that's necessarily bad. I think these days we tend to look upon the old school as outdated and it can never be applied to life today. But there's so many things in life today we can take from the past and still apply to what we do today. And you're someone I think does that, and I think you'd agree. I don't think you disagree with that. And of course, you need to merge both. But those are the two things that sort of I caught from what Vic said. Even down to just even watching like Hass still, even like now, we'll sit down after his game and things like that. We'll bring up a couple clips and just go over things and just recognize how if you've got to work harder, sometimes that's all it is. If you've got to improve a little bit of this, sometimes that's all it is. So reflection is key. reflection is key, and I think I've learned that from a young age.
And do you know
that's what.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think football's taught me reflection from me. Because even sometimes when I was playing, and let's say I wasn't getting, do you know what I mean? I weren't getting in, or I had issues with the coach, or blah 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 blah. Sometimes it would be me, but then sometimes, because I was very challenging, because I watched, I'm analysing this game. I'm not just playing it. I'm in the game. I'm analysing this game. So if the coach is going to come and tell me nonsense, it's hard for me to just stand there and listen to the nonsense a bit. But that's not it. That's not the issue. The issue is blah 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 blah. But at the same time, I think growing up, I've had to bite my tongue a little bit sometimes, and sometimes led me to not, you know what I mean, just out the door. But yeah,
you reckon, Vic?
Yeah, man. Seen that at Kicks a fair few times. No, but going back to the point you made, Vic, about you and Hass in terms of like analysing like Hass's performance and all that. See, peer-to-peer reflection can either be detrimental or it can be, can be fantastic. And I feel that because of the relationship that you two have and the rest of the boys as well, I think that it works perfectly because your character, Vic, but like I said there, it's that old school mentality. It's just brutal. It's pragmatic as well. It's pragmatic with the way that you give your feedback. And I think it's your Hass's like biggest fan and his harshest critic as well. Like we all are, I think, as well. We'll always want to go above and beyond with that feedback because you want people to be better. I think for me, stroking egos and reiterating what people want to hear, I just think it's dangerous. And I think it goes into what Gaz was saying as well about having that balance of like the new school approach and the old school approach as well, because I'm quite fearful that we're going to have a generation of resilience in terms of young players not being able to deal with hard times and austerity and adversity in the game because they cuddle too much.
My head's gone. My head's gone is the number one thing I hear from all these young boys is my head is gone. And it's frustrating because Tom's like literally said it perfectly. I'd say we see it now today in a lot of young players and young people as a whole. If you take away football, I agree. It's life. Yeah, like they can't deal with tough times. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that tough times are necessarily a good thing, but in terms of character and being a human being and life in 20 years when you're an adult, you're gonna have to be able to deal with tough times, tougher than what you're going through now, possibly. And all this, my head's gone. I hear it so often. I've got so many people in mind as well with the head's gone. I'm sure you guys do as well. The smallest thing. Oh, my head's gone. I want to leave, or I'm not happy with my club, or my coach don't like me. What are you doing for yourself first?
Responsibility, accountability.
Definitely. I think.
But why? But why do you think? Why do you? Obviously, I know the protection, the protective bubble, as we like to say, is a massive factor. But what else? But what else is it though? What else is it? Because I failed to. What is it? Why?
Do you know what it is? Yeah, me personally, probably growing up around the area and growing up around these sort of caliber of boys that have that sort of saying of head gone is like, I don't know what it is. Do you know what I mean? I feel like people owe them something. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like
entitled.
You're not owed. No one owes you nothing until you do an absolute complete madness in terms of achievements and recognition. And I'm talking recognition of the elite. For you to start looking around and start asking or demanding things. Do you know what I mean? You're in a world where it's dog eat dog world, and you've got to literally fight for your own. And if you don't, you're not. And listen, and I think going back to that sort of mentality trait, it's so easy for them just to say, my head's gone. And I just watched a perfect video in relation to that. I don't know if you guys have seen it recently I saw it on Twitter with Van Persie. He was talking about his son.
Amazing, brilliant.
That blew my mind. It was about 2 or 3 minutes. If you haven't checked it, I think Rolt, you've seen it. Probably Vic and Gaz have seen it anyway. Yeah. But that just sums it up. And his boy was 13 at the time, and his boy's in the Ajax academy, and I think he was just complaining about him not playing. And I think that's the problem we have with probably the boys around amongst the area that we've all sort of grown up in, is just they the mentality is sort of weak at times, where if they don't play, or if something doesn't go their way, the heads sort of drop. Where I think that's where sort of our roles come into it, and this is sort of mentorship sort of comes into it, where we can start challenging that sort of thought process, because that energy, if you don't play, it's not the end of the world. If you don't start, it's not the end of the world. If you don't get a move, it's not the end of the world. If you even get an injury, it's not the end of the world. It's that sort of that time where you need to feel that sort of energy to sort of to keep you going and keep you striving and keep you focused on what you're trying to achieve. But I think at the moment, and the thing is, what we sort of need to sort of teach or sort of mentor is that, listen, them things are gonna come. Like there's never a path where it's just as clean. It's a clean whistle where you don't come through any barriers or you don't come through any setbacks. And I think if we sort of get them trained and channel their sort of thought process when they come to these barriers, I think, listen, they will achieve whatever they set out to achieve. I think once we challenge that mindset, once you challenge the mindset, you all know that once you've got that correct mindset, you can achieve whatever you want.
And I think we've gone on with what I said. Sorry, Rolt.
No, go on.
Obviously, Van Persie spoke, and his son was 13. His son was 13 years old, and that was the conversation he's having with his son at 13. I think the boys, you know, maybe around this generation, they don't come across that conversation until they're about 18. They're about 18, and they've got so much things already downloaded in their subconscious, where it's just like they're doing things without even thinking about it. They're moaning without even thinking, you know, what are the steps, what are the reasons behind certain things before they get to, you know, to their answer of, oh yeah, my head's gone. So I think if these conversations need to be had from a young age, whether it's even from school, just it being at school from the age of 13, that's year 8, year 7, year 8, it's got to be had. Because the boys in the elite environment, these boys are having these conversations. The boys in the Cat 1, Cat 2 clubs, these boys are really, really having these conversations at 13. You know what I mean? They're in a high performance environment where they know it might not be had that much, but there's still people around that they can recognize it.
The game's changing, man. Loads of roles have been created. You know what I mean? You've got football liaisons, you've got mentors, you've even got parental mentors now, where they don't just focus on the kids; they're actually focusing on the parents and how to sort of mentor their kids. So the game is changing. You know what I mean?
So I think with the boys that are not in that environment from a young age, they've got to be ready to listen, as well as ready to, you know, sometimes self-reflect, because, you know, these roles are not put there, and, you know, it's not right in their face. So they've sometimes got to be able to pick up the phone, or you know, maybe just go on YouTube and type in something to listen to, and, you know, help them. I remember when we were growing up, there was loads of things we'll send each other from YouTube. Have you heard this? Have you heard this? What's the guy has? The motivational speaker,
Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas, you know, things like that. When he first came out, oh, you heard this. So when it's like, oh no, my head's gone. No, your head can't go, because what you really want to do, there's no time for head being gone. You know what I mean? You better suck it up and listen, go again. So, you know, and that's like the person having that conversation.
I also think that it comes from something we'll talk upon probably soon, in that if we're talking specifically football, which we are, some of the young people that we have worked with and that we do work with aren't in environments where they face that up until, as you said, they're 18, because they're not in football clubs. Might not be playing Sunday league because of church, can't afford to pay fees, can't find a club, not allowed to. You're not going to be a footballer anyway, so what's the point of you playing football? You can play when you're with your friends outside, all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, they're 16, 17, they're unreal at football when they probably weren't at 13, 14. They were just quite raw talent. You know, the quotation mark raw, sorry, shall I say, because I don't like it myself at times. But, you know, the raw thing. And then when they turn 17, 18, all of a sudden, they're like, wow, I can play football. And then they're at a club. So your first environment, or your first step into a football club at 18 is good in many ways, because you've maybe not been coached, things haven't been coached out of you and so on and so forth, but you haven't got the structure of how to carry yourself in a team environment, firstly, in a team environment, and secondly, around seniority. So management, coaches, captains, etc., etc. So you have to carry yourself in terms of how you deal with things that don't go your way. haven't reached until 18, 19 maybe, or maybe 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever the age group is. I think it touches what Vic said, which we'll probably go into soon, which I'm sure we will. But I think that's a big part of it, is that they're not in those environments initially. So, dealing with that type of adversity in that instance isn't necessarily something that they get to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, guys, and I think it's a really important thing, because I feel that football is a great marker for how you carry yourself in life. Because I'll speak to you boys about it all the time. Is that I watch very carefully how people who claim they love the game and they want to aspire to something carry themselves in football, because it will give me a clear indicator for how they are as people, and vice versa. It's a bit deep, it's a bit analytical, but that's how I look at things. Because for me, football, the key base is discipline, application, the drive to want to get somewhere, and if you can cover those bases and have those honest discussions at the earliest possible point, I feel you're giving that best person not only to succeed in football, but in life. And that's the most important thing, because ultimately you're going to get to a stage where a player's either going to be in it to win it, as I say, to be a professional footballer, or not. So how successful can they be in life? Make sense? You see what I'm saying? And I think that's really important. And I think it comes back down to it, boys, just to round this bit up in terms of like accountability and all that stuff. And Gaz will know firsthand, in terms of, we all would actually, in terms of having those conversations with players. And you can have players, batting off all these things about that's been happening recently, what the coach has done, what the manager has done, what other players have done, but then you listen to it, and then the first thing you say, okay, so what are we going to do about it then? And that's when people are stunned. They're like, have you not listened to it? No, I've listened to everything you've said, but all I've heard is negativity and problems. Problems are cool, but I only want to hear it once. It's now got to be about solutions. Like, what are you going to do to improve this situation? What are you going to do to be a better person that's going to allow you to apply yourself better as a footballer? Do you get what I mean? I think that's really tough. It's about getting that balance.
Yeah, I agree.
And but do you know what? I think that's just brought us nicely onto sort of the reasons why we're here in this chat today, and it's talking about kicks. I want to talk about kicks for probably the last half hour of this sort of podcast. Is let's talk about kicks. What was your first experience of kicks? Yeah, let's go. Let's fire it off, man.
Yeah. Kicks. To be fair, because I lived, again, I'll repeat it again, because I lived literally literally within walking distance within the ground. So I think I got a flyer through the school, which was just across the road, about the sessions that went on down there, and then literally told a few friends led to my school friends, and then I just got involved from a really young age, from the ages of I'd probably say 11, 12, literally. I just knew the environment was a very intense, sort of competitive, sort of robust. Bring your friends, and your friends, that's your war team. Like, you're going to war every single week, but it's an enjoyable environment where it's a lot of it's competitive. It's who wants to be the best, who wants to show the best, and I just loved it every single week. Do you know what I mean? And especially when you have a good session, all of a sudden everyone wants to be a friend. So that sort of making you friends element
that's
of it.
Football, innit? That's
through football. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And it's crazy. You don't understand like how much things football can give back to you. Do you know what I mean? Necessarily, you don't even have to be good. You can even be just a funny guy at football, but everyone knows you as the funny guy. That funny guy has just added. That funny guy has just added 10 friends. Do you know what I mean? Like all I can remember, just the environment just being just lovely, man. Do you know what I mean? It had its moments, obviously, as all environments will have its moments. Everyone wants to be the best. You know what I mean? And a late challenge can lead on to that. But listen, that's all parts of football. That happens all around the world, man. And literally, like, I think why it's so unique is because the way it's just carried on, and I kept carrying. I kept going until basically I couldn't go no more. Basically, and that was
That's what's coming from the back shutter.
If I could still go now, I'd go now. But listen, my time was up, so I just had to enjoy it. I think I scored about 600 goals.
You got the print and all that.
I got the stats. I got the stats. So, but that's like it was good, man. The coaches are just like, they were just vibrant, and they're with you, and they were young, and they're good, and that's where I met yourself, Mr. Rolt.
Yeah,
that's why I actually met yourself, mate.
Yeah, that was when was that? I'm talking 2010.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wait, it was Villa Park. We'll come to that though. We're gonna grill a little bit. Yeah, we'll come to that.
2010 though, Rolt.
What's that?
Surely. It was earlier than 2010.
No, it was earlier 2010. Because I was like,
must have been
7, bro. I was still going to that place. I don't know when you. I can't remember when you started.
05. That's you got using year 7, 05 pass.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, I mean, because I came on the scene 2008. I started doing stuff with Rich on the projects, on the old school street projects. So yeah, I think 09 probably, lads. To be fair, wow, time's flown. What about you, Vic? What Kicks? Tell me about Kicks. What was your first experience and yeah.
Experience with Kicks. Saturday mornings.
With the old boy, with Rogers. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Saturday morning.
Before it was Kicks, really and truly. Yeah. Kicks before
that was match day. You know what I mean? That was match day. And then the midweeks, when the turf at the back, the low goals. It was low and wide. Remember the low, wide goals?
Yeah.
I didn't get why them goals existed back then. But
yeah. The old school. Wow. Yeah. It's probably back.
It was the concrete on the sandy Astro turf.
Yeah.
I lived a little bit first, so I wasn't able to get there all the time. You know what I mean, so here and there I'll be around. You know what I mean, and a couple tackles. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Clip a few odds,
Yeah.
Go back to but yeah, that was I remember the Saturday mornings were amazing, man. You know what I mean? The queue to me stand up.
You know what? On that note, Vic, I think that's actually when I first saw you two Saturday morning. Because I remember for whatever reason, I would. Yeah, I remember finding myself down there one time. I remember seeing, that was it, both you two, Tarek when he was up to our kneecaps. And all the lads. That's where it was. Saturday morning. I'll never forget. What a session! That was war. That was a brilliant session.
No, do you know what the best part of it was? It's only until you come out of it and your time's done, you realise like what was actually happening. Like Gerry, you all know. Remember the session started as the youngest first, and the oldest the literally after the session was, and like. You'd finish and then you watch the oldest play and you're thinking, I want to get involved. But you knew you could only get involved if you were ready. Yeah, and
Josh Larger used to be playing every single time. And I just remember watching and thinking, this is some good stuff, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I think what you had with that group, because this was like when it started off free, from what I remember, and then they started bumping up 50p, a pound, £2, and that sort of led into the Kicks era. But that session, it wasn't only technical ability to a very high level, but it was intensity to a very high level. And I personally would like to think that the intensity that I see Vic and Hass play football at today, when they play football, kind of came from that.
110%.
Of course it did. Survival.
110%. Because listen, like, don't get me wrong. Like the ability and that was just second to none. But the main thing was on that pitch is like it was by any means necessary to win.
Yeah. Like
forget the ability. Like you could look in everyone's face and they just all wanted to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there was one guy that was just specialized in doing one thing. Like you stopped that guy from scoring. Do you know what I mean? And it was just craziness. Like you'd go in there. Like, don't get me wrong, you'd walk in there. If you were blindfolded and you just walked in, you'd think people are fighting.
Yeah. No, for real.
That's how serious it was. Yeah. And I'll never ever forget my first session when I stepped up. I kid you not, I thought I was on trial at a pro club. Everything was just fast. Literally, everything was fast, sharp. It was just ridiculous. I remember I turned out one time, and like, to be honest, why I loved it is there was no sort of like compassion or nothing towards a younger coming through. I turned out, like, listen, I was taking long. Someone just came later. Get off! You're taking long. Like, and I was on the floor on my face thinking, like, bro, I'm young. Like, you're not gonna allow me. Like, you're not gonna like look after me a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I knew if I don't buckle up, they're gonna tell me not to come back.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
I'd never forget that moment.
The beauty of it. That was the beauty of it. I think even Hassan could have been on trial at a pro club. Basically, a lot of the boys who were playing were either playing good non-league standard. Some of them even went and became pros.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, one of the boys being one of the highest signings. You know what I mean, at the time. You know what I mean, and that was years ago. And that's how it started, and it's never looked back. To be honest, it's got better. It's got better, and it's just.
I just wanted to say hi.
Hey.
That's you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's got better, and it's got better, and you know, that environment, second to none.
Brilliant.
Second to none.
Great. What about you guys? Obviously, you know, your cycle's quite special. Talk to us about kicks and what it is to you and all that stuff.
Cool. So the story's funny. I was out with a couple of friends on my estate, and then a gentleman comes up to me and says, we're starting up some new sessions in the area for free. Obviously, at the time, the Saturday morning sessions that these guys are talking about they had bumped up to £2 when initially it was free. Yeah. So to us, it didn't make sense at the time. Why were we paying £2 when it was free? And £2, although it sounds like pennies now, to get £2 from your savings or from a mum for a parent at that time may not have always been an easy thing. So this guy that's come up to us and said, we're doing a new session. I was like, wow. So, and the gentleman turns out to be Richard White, who's now my line manager. We went to the session. It was the first session. It was the first time the session had ran. And luckily, one of the local guys called Neil Ells, who we used to work on the program, he was one of the coaches, so we recognised him. I was friends with his brother Brendan, so it was perfect. It kind of made sense. We felt at ease, and we were like the first ones to go to the session. Yeah, and we was loving it. We were playing against each other, and all of a sudden, like 2-3 weeks later, a young Asian lad turns up with spiky hair. And he turns up with a couple of his friends. I think there might have been a small chap who used to play up front that came as well, quite quick.
Dodgy hamstrings, as I've heard he's got.
Yeah. And they turned up, and then we was like, who are these lot? Played them, and I was like, I never want to come here again. These lot have absolutely bopped us, but it was really good. The quality and the standard was really high. The guy I'm talking about was obviously Chan Kwan. So Chan, Vic, Hass, them lot started coming along. Yeah. Then Hass's brothers would come along, and the word spread quite quickly about the program and the session. And before you know it, I think what you had was quite special. People from Bermondsey coming, people from Rotherhithe, people from sometimes from like Peckham on the other occasion, and just people from different areas were coming along. And that was my first memory of kicks, was literally meeting some new people. And obviously now I'm in a sort of a role of managing the program, which gives me different insight into the work we do. It makes me understand what the coaches were doing when we were attending as young people. But yeah, that's my first memory. Sort of literally the first ever kick session. We were like the first participants, if you like, which was interesting, and it quickly became like the Friday nights were special at Redriff Primary School. The Friday nights were special because that was tournament night. That was like the pinnacle of it. Yeah. And then obviously we moved to Bacon College, and that's when it grew bigger than ever. You sort of came along. You sort of came into the program, and it became what it is today, really and truly. But yeah, the Bacon's College. I think Bacon's was its pinnacle in a different way, and I think you guys would agree. Again, it opened it up to more people to come to the session, and obviously the program sort of changed from what it was. It's become bigger. It's become more sort of inclusive around the borough, if you like. But that period was like my good memories of it, if you like.
I think from my personal perspective, you know, I had the honour of obviously managing that program that you're doing now, guys, for many years, and I still stand by it. You know, the Millwall Kicks project is the best in the country. I stand by that. You know, I would always say that, because the reason I say that as well is because for a couple of different reasons. Is because in terms of the progression of participant through to staff and the role that those staff members are now playing back to their community and being the biggest advocates for what we do, I think is massive. I at one point, the Millwall program was staffed 1 to 16 in terms of kicks from ex-participants. you know, and I think that just shows the strength of the programme now. And now you've got, you know, Gaz, you're in the hot seat. Hass, you're working wonders, and Vic's back around it now, and you're going to be taking on great roles in the near future as well. But that's all come from Kicks. So when we talk about what opportunities have come from Kicks,
yeah, no, definitely.
this is it. You see what I'm saying? That was going to be my next point. My next point was going to be, what do you think? What are the opportunities that you've been able to take, and what are your best memories from the programme to date?
Endless, man. It's literally endless. I'll probably start off as a participant, obviously with Kicks and meeting all the different staff, and then obviously it wasn't even so much. Yeah, you have the kick sessions every week, and then the odd tournament comes up. Do you know what I mean? So it's the coaches pick the best members at the sessions and they form a team, and then you go to different places. I went to numerous places with yourself, Gaz, with you, Rolt. We played Arsenal, we played there, we've gone there, and then we've gone to the big one, which was Aston Villa. That will never, obviously, we won't go into that yet. We'll go into that later on. But do you know what I mean? When I sit back and when I'm finished playing, and not even so much playing, now I just look back, that conversation probably pops up. Yeah. All of you lot in this call probably pops up at least 6 times a year for the last 5 years. Easy. Do you know what I mean? That's a memory that will forever live with me, and that's a memory that's come from Kicks. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And listen, I'm humbled to sort of like. So what we're doing now on this podcast now is just to sort of just say our experiences and what we've gone through. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I met you. So why I'm working today is because of Tom, because like. I've met you through the sort of kick session. We formed a good relationship, and then you just one day said, "Listen, do you want to do some volunteering?" And then that volunteering led me to get onto my level 1, led me to do my coaching, and then it got me some part-time work. And then I think without you knowing, you were shaping me. So that listen, I had stints in the sort of journey I had. Do you know what I mean? Just as you do. Then it was my first sort of job at the time. So literally. The sort of fundamentals of turning up on time, application, and sort of things I was getting used to, and you were there just helping me along the way. You didn't just shut me off at the first door where at the first hurdle where I probably fell down. You said, "Listen, as you do X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z." Man, listen, I'm forever grateful, man. And why I'm working today is essentially, if you want to go back, it's through yourself. And like, listen, I as every sort of young boy on this sort of the area, everyone wanted to be a professional footballer. And I couldn't really see myself I always said, listen, I'll do anything that's got to do with sports if I don't make it. But I didn't, it's probably a lie at the time. All I wanted to be was a professional footballer, and that was it. Do you know what I mean? I just thought, whatever, I don't know what I'm going to do, but just football at the time. And I think with what I'm doing now, sort of the sort of alternate provision work and sort of mentoring and sort of working with the kids now is just sort of a replication of when you had me. So when I was under you, now I've got these young people under myself, and I feel like there's a duty of care with any young person that walks through the door, not even actually through the Millwall door, just anywhere. It could be on the street. You know what I mean? So if I see something now that a young person that's probably doing wrong or that he can apply himself in the world, I have to challenge it. I couldn't walk away and just see that. And do you know what I mean? So now it's like, yeah, I play at the moment, and probably that sort of dream that I probably had is probably faded away a little bit, and I'm just enjoying and just grateful that I'm still playing. So so it's literally just like I'm on a call. You know what I mean?
Get her in, get her in.
So literally it's now like I actually enjoy my role now. So I feel like I can give back. So what have you sort of taught me, and what my experiences that I've had when I was a young person growing up, and all the sort of barriers and all the setbacks I have, they're most likely going to go through the same thing. So it's shaping them up. So when they do face these barriers, that they're ready. Do you know what I mean? So like now, I'm like I enjoy my role now. So that sort of me having a one-to-one conversation with a young person and just speaking to them what they're likely to go through. Like, listen, I'm all for that.
So you think that comes from a place of actually understanding the importance of what you do? So like when I started off at 16, this isn't necessarily about me. I started off when I started working at 16, all it was to me was a paid job. It was getting some money in my pocket, and I used to love it because I dress well,
Definitely.
Could eat food when I wanted to and all that sort of stuff. I had money to spend. And as you grow into it, you actually understand that there's more to it than just kicking a ball, or there's more to it than just sitting in a classroom. There's actually a process where you're actually giving back.
Yeah.
No, 110%. It's like what you said. It's like when you once you get into the job properly and you dig in, you start realizing that listen, it's more than a job. You've got to take it serious. Or else you're just lying to yourself. You're just cheating yourself. That's why I said now, if I was to see a young person do something just like probably just doing something that he probably doesn't know he's doing, I have to challenge that, because now I feel like I'm failing him him or she, should I say, if I don't challenge that. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I got to say thinking, wow, I really am taking this serious. Do you know what I mean? So it's just through it's just experiences, man, and just walks of life, really. It's just molded me to be the person who I am now.
And I think that's the beauty of kicks again, because when it comes to talking about kicks, what does kicks do? You know, what does the success look like, and all those sort of hypothetical questions. For me, the beauty of kicks is about having the opportunity to improve and complement someone's life. You know, and that's what stayed. You know, that's what I took from my time when I reflect on being hands-on with the kick stuff, was because I knew that providing opportunities, whether that be a tournament somewhere, whether that be offering a course, whether that actually being giving someone 10 minutes of my time, or just asking someone how their day's been, how their week's been, what's been going on in their life, that meant so much to them. So for me, that's what it's all about. Our roles, doing what we do, is improving people and is giving people the best opportunity to succeed in life. Football's quality. Football's a carrot, and if something happens with football, happy days.
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, we've got to give the next generations the best opportunity to succeed. You know, and that's from what you were saying, Hassan. You know, that's exactly what it is. And into that, Vic, is yours similar in terms of the opportunities and where you are now and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's quite similar. One thing is obviously with just people like yourself, Tom, Adam Lawrence, Dan Molino, guys started early, you know, and then you got people like obviously they weren't working directly with Kicks, but then you got the Palmer brothers, you know, that were working with the Millwall Academy, like that. They were great role models around to you know, look up to, in terms of, you know, we were participants, you guys were the brothers, session workers that, you know, always spoke to us. You know what I mean? No matter what we done, no matter what trouble we got into after sessions, even during sessions, you know, let us be ourselves. You know what I mean? When we did get in trouble, you guys spoke to us, tried to get us back doing the right thing. And then even when we started working, and, you know, I started the session in Bellingham, you know, just going out there and stopping things, and then, you know, letting that lead in other people and plus other young people coming up. And then, you know, there's even the stuff you've gone on to do, and, you know, the other names I mentioned gone on to do, is also like, just, you know, I can go on to do loads more stuff. I don't have to stay in this position. No. But the people who I've worked with are also looking at me as an inspiration to think, all right, I've been part of the session. This person has been part of this session. I can also go on and do good things. So I think it's just been a positive role model all around, and, you know, trying to influence the people you come across every day, be the best you can in every situation. And you know, I think is the session is just, the program is just amazing in terms of the people you come across. Yeah. And it just leads into life also as well. You know, it never stops. No. It doesn't. It never switches up. I mean, even young people who are participants who were session workers are now older, and they're old enough. Then they're older than the session, but we still meet up and, you know, football sessions ourselves and still have conversations. So it just continues. It's a cycle that never stops, you know. And I think that's the real beauty of it, you know, the connection you have with people, you know, the things.
Yeah, definitely.
It never stops, you know? So I think it's a beautiful thing.
Even sorry to probably cut in there, I forgot mentioning Gerry as well. Obviously, Gerry started before myself or Vic started working. Yeah. And to obviously see his transformation where he was doing his bits, then obviously he graduated, then came back, and then got the role that he got. It was inspirational, man, because me and Gerry are the same age. Do you know what I mean? But I was looking at Gerry thinking, no, what you done was like it's inspirational. Do you know what I mean? So it made me want to sort of level up, sort of thing. I thought, nah, he's gone away, he's done his bits, he's got his degree, he's got all his bits in order, and he's come back now. He's got a good role, and I just feel like when you look at it now, majority of the colleagues that we have now, we're all ex-participants together. Do you know what I mean? And now we're all working together. So we're in our office having banter or having our talks. I don't sit down to take a minute and just realise 10 years ago, like, we played together on a little five-a-side court. Now we're talking about,
yeah, bro, it's crazy.
Get staff there. Have you replied to this email? Or you come to this meeting? And, you know what I mean? It's crazy, man. It's crazy, but it's very humbling. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, sometimes we forget like what the kicks Mill and just do you know what I mean? We're just sometimes we just need to be grateful and appreciative of what we've all created, and we've all had influences in our own sort of way. Yourself, Rolt, Vic, Gaz, and many more. Many of Richard. I can go on for days, but it's unreal, man.
Yeah, no, it's a great project, and yeah, and as I say, it's the best. And I think going on from what you said there, like Hass, in terms of how everyone's together now working, I think I had a moment, probably, I don't know, it may have been last summer or later on last year. I was in the office, and everyone was about. You was there. Vic popped in. You had Shan, and there was a couple of Anton, I think, and all that stuff. And I was sitting there. It must have been a kicks night. I was sitting there. And I was seeing everybody charging around, like Cam was going to get some footballs, you were sending emails, Gaz was back and forth, and I was sitting there, and I was just like, yeah, that's a legacy in terms of getting the right people together to do the job. Do you see what I'm saying? That was for me, I've not get too sentimental, I don't really do that, but that was a special moment for me, seeing that, because it was like people that I believed in and I gave opportunity to, because I knew they would relish. It all comes to fruition, and that's a beautiful thing. And your Gaz is doing that now. Gaz is bringing people through, and he's leaving a legacy. He's creating something. Same with you, Hass, with what you're doing with the young boys, with the little rascals. You're leaving a great, blueprint on them, and with Vic, what you're going to be doing as well. It's brilliant stuff.
It's just a chain that we got to keep going, man. Do you know what I mean? The chain forever. It's a forever moving chain. The chain can't stop. You know what I mean? Keep going, and
time doesn't wait for anyone, and it's about just lay that foundations for the next people to come in, the next youngsters, the next Vics, the next Hasses and Gazers to come through, and on that note, let's talk about our best memories. This is where we'll have a little bit of banter. What was our best memory at Premier League kicks? I think we're probably all going to sing on the same hymn sheet, and ladies and gentlemen,
I've got a few, man.
I've got three.
I've
got a short list.
What are we saying? Our best one, or are we talking about probably just?
I want the best memory in terms of significance for you and the impact it had on you. Yeah, we'll do that, because otherwise we'll be.
I'll go. I've got a few. Meeting Tom and Adam Lawrence, one. And it isn't necessarily the funniest moment, but those two characters, they had a laugh and a joke. But I think the two things about you two as a partnership and as a sort of a senior coach was when you was working, it was work. And don't get me wrong, it's not to say you weren't we weren't able to relate to you.
Yeah.
And I think young people could relate to you both very much. But what you had was a work ethic and a dedication to the work you were doing at a given time, which I think rubbed off on myself. I can definitely say rubbed off on sort of the Hassans, the Vics, the Chans as well. But that rubbed off on me massively in terms of how I interact with young people. It completely changed my outlook on talking to young people. And I'd say that's one. I'd say two. There was a moment of Victor Borode at the Lion Centre where he's had a go at one of the referees.
It's hammered
I won't say his name. Tom's already given it away. Tom's done it. No,
do you know what?
I think Vic was a participant at the time, and Vic hadn't started volunteering yet. So obviously, from his perspective, and Vic will probably be able to talk on this himself, Vic was still a participant at the end of the day. So his outlook on it wasn't to be a role model. His outlook was ref has made a bad decision. He's absolutely the volunteer who was refereeing got absolutely battered in terms of his decision. Absolutely caned. I'm allowed to say that, I think. But yeah, he got ruined, shall we say? And it was I think it was quite a defined moment as well for that person. Was it? in many respects, I think he came out of it better. Not to say that was necessarily right of Vic to do, because I think the way life works is, yeah, fair enough, it isn't right, but you can learn a lot from struggles and from difficulty. And that was a struggle and a difficulty for him at that time. I think he came out of that a better person, a better coach, and just more resilient as a whole from that. That's funny. It was a time because
that was the aim, you know.
Look at him. He thinks he's Doctor Strange. He's planned it in his head. But no, yeah, perfectly done. And I think the last one was sort of seeing a generation of young people sort of go on to be pro footballers. And don't get me wrong, that's not what Kicks is about. Kicks is about engaging with young people. But I think within a good 6-year span, I've managed from my time playing to sort of now managing it. I've seen loads of generations come through that are now playing professional football, which for me personally is amazing. It's an amazing stat that we hold in the program. What we have here is, like, as you guys know, I've now got the Hall of Fame at Millwall, which says all the boys that have gone on to play pro that came to the program, and I think it gives the young people something to look up to and something to say, I can succeed as well. And that was my big thing about that Hall of Fame with all the boys, is that if they can do that and they once came here, so can I. And it's literally, I don't want to go too into my story, but there was a young person called Lexus Beeden, who you guys all know. And obviously his name wasn't on the board at the time. And he's come up to you one day and he said, Gaz, I'm going to be up there. And I was like, okay, yeah, you know, all right, as you do. Lo and behold, a year later, he signed a pro contract with Reading, and he's now playing for the under-23s. And I guess that's what it was designed to do, was to give hope and aspiration and to say, to challenge some of these young people. So I wouldn't. That last one isn't necessarily one memory; it's a load of memories that have combined into one that have made a big one. So yeah, that's me.
Quality, guys. Quality.
Yeah, decent.
To what as well. Down into what Gaz said as well, I think it's so important to remember that my players who have been a victim to the way football was played before.
Yeah. So
I think the way football's played in that environment, in that Kicks environment now, has been the same for years, and it's just kept going. Unfortunately, the era where football is now, for the boys who fell victim to it, where football isn't like that, the boys are now, I feel like football is almost caught up with us now, with Kicks, and now players from Kicks can now, go straight into clubs, and they're looking at them thinking, Jesus, we've got a player, yeah? Do you know what I mean? Whereas for football frowned upon those type of players, and that type of talent, and maybe even the age that they're coming in at. So I think it's just testament to the program of how it's been and how it's kept going and how it will continue to.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
And just obviously, Hass goes on to his favourite. I'll start this time. I think obviously we had Villa Park
what a day.
as well.
What a day!
What a day! What an amazing day! It's funny because I was one of the players that I wasn't picked originally to go to the start of the podcast. I was just there for the tackles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was getting to the point where I was able to play a few passes here and there. I just started my passing career at the time. But a couple dropouts and I was on a bus. You know what I mean? I was on a bus to Villa Park, and I didn't start the first game because obviously I was just there for the, just bring them along for the numbers, and I think what was it, Rolt? So who made the change? Who made the change in the first game? I think I came on in the last 5 minutes or something like that.
I think an offensive player come off. I think we wanted to shore it up. I think we played, it was Everton lot first. I'm sure it was Liverpool Everton mob, I think you came on for one of the front boys. I want to say Jack Samutis. I want to say Samutis you came on for. Yeah.
And from there, with me, if you give me a sniff, I'm taking the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So once I got that sniff on the pitch, that was it. I didn't come off again. I played every single game from that point on, and great tournament, great memories until the last game. Watford in the final. I think my favourite game in that tournament even was against Fulham.
Fulham, yeah.
Whoa. the boys that went to the Fulham Kicks. I loved it, and I love, there's games where you're just, cruising through. It's when you've got a battle. And I remember when I used to play centre back, I loved the striker that wanted a battle. That I just used to love it, and I just think, yeah, man, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? But that Fulham game, we come out on top, got to the final, Watford in the final. And unfortunately, we conceded the first goal. Because the rules, no slack.
Hey, don't just say explain.
And I didn't
explain how you conceded the first goal.
I didn't slap tackle the player who ran from his own half, left about 4 players and scored. Yeah, which I had. I shut him down. But
can I push
again? No, you can't pause. Not yet. He done it again. I broke the rules in the second one and stopped him. Stopped him, made a good challenge. Went to penalties, and I was one of the players that missed a penalty. My friend over here, Hassan Ibrahim, wanted to take the winning penalty number 5 and celebrate. That's
massive time. Yeah, that's better.
Never got a chance, but yeah, man. The trophy was right there, but yeah, what a memory, man! What a memory.
I think that era defines so much for me. Firstly, it defines a generation of really, really good footballers, as well as resilient characters. Yourself, Hassan, Chan, Deji, Jack Samutis. Who else was in that team? Dwayne. We had Dwayne at centre back. Obviously, some of you may know his younger brother, Montel. Ellis, what a player! What a player!
Ellis was a joke. It was a joke.
Solid.
Joke.
But it also defines the difficulty in terms of making that next step at that time.
Yeah.
Because what you would find is, I think if those guys and that core of players, including Hassan, would come into programs like Kicks today, they'd have been snapped up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Snapped, like no question. Whereas at the time, as Vic said, it was a bit of uncertainty. Do we let these guys in? Or can they play football? Are they tactically aware? And he's just raw and he's just quick. He's just skills. And now the change in football is seeing that these guys are now commodity. They're wanted. And I think that generation was perfect.
Yeah, generation.
Yeah. No,
we even had who is it as well? Daniel Johnson, no?
Daniel Johnson, he used to come to the Peckham Kicks.
Yeah, true. Yeah, top player as well.
Who's the earlier one? David Amu was one of the first.
I think
from them.
Before your sort of your generation. I think it was David Amu and Johnson. They
were the older boys we used to watch.
Yeah,
I mean, they were the older boys we used to watch. So it's been. Millwall Kicks has got a huge part in the football world,
It's not really been a story that's been told.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've got to tell our own stories,
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
And
story itself, you know what I mean?
No, definitely, man. That's why I'm buzzing that we're doing.
It's easily one of the best development centres around.
100%.
Without even being one.
No, definitely.
Without being one, an unstructured development centre. Just where people come and is guided. A guided unstructured centre. So I think it's good.
It's good. You know what? Sorry, Has, just before we come to your bit, do you know what I love about it as well is that like other clubs, they'll be like, oh yeah, this player's come through, he's gone on to do this and that, and he'd be like, oh right, yeah, cool. Well, can we have a chat with him? Can we do something? Like, no, the way it's set up, he's here, he's there, he can't speak. If we wanted to have access to anyone who's playing, like if you're talking from, like for example, from Dej to Daniel Johnson to whoever it may be, we can pick the phone up, we can make contact, and we can. Do you see what I'm saying? That's another thing with Kicks. It's that bond. It's that
relationship. Yeah.
Real.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even the Legends games.
Yeah.
The Legends game. You know what I mean?
That's your exact answer to it.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of these for them to actually come away from their environments, they're full time. Do you know what I mean? They're now in that sort of working sort of ladder of their lives. Do you know what I mean? They've got cars, they've got this. So they're seeing that decent side of their life. For them to actually come back to their roots, to remember what they didn't forget where they came from. Do you know what I mean? And to participate in the game 2 years in the running, hopefully, obviously, we're going to do the third one this year, but obviously...
That needs to be in the stadium, by the way.
You know what I mean?
Put pressure on me, why don't you?
Get to work, guys. So
that just speaks volumes in itself. Do you know what I mean? And it's just crazy, man. When you look at when we were playing the games and you look at the caliber of players that are on the pitch, it's ridiculous, man. Do you know what I mean? We've got league winners, we've got player final level winners. Yeah, we got everywhere. Do you know, internationals, and it's just humbling. So obviously that's definitely one of my highlights of memories with
like the one in 2017. The one in 2017. Because we didn't, no, the 2018 game, sorry, which was the second one, which we didn't record. I mean, what a game of football. Like, you couldn't write it. You really, the script, you couldn't make that script up in terms of, obviously the younger lot took the lead and, we thought, oh yeah, it's a done game. And I think you guys pulled one back to make it 2-1. Then they made it 3-1 and you're thinking, it's curtains.
It was amazing.
What a game.
Amazing.
What a game that was.
Oh, man.
What a game.
What would you like? So, Hass, what would you say your pinnacle moment of the project was, or have you got like what Gaz has got, like a little short list of?
Yeah, to be fair, listen, I'm just gonna be very sort of bang on the head there. I'm not gonna. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, it's the Villa. Like you see that day. Yeah, honestly. I think it just summed up the whole sort of career with the whole program in itself. Do you know what I mean? Just the way it was, the letter went out. Like, do you know what I mean? There was talks of it at start, and then I was like, really? I was thinking, nah, you're playing with my emotions there. If you don't follow through with this information that you're telling me, as in like the game's in 2 weeks, letters will be getting sent out, and I'm thinking, okay. Right. So the time started getting close, and the letters actually got sent out. And then the players were getting picked, and then once you started picking the sort of caliber of players, then I thought, nah, this stuff is real. So you called Dej at the time, you called Chan at the time, and I was just thinking, and you called all these players, and I'm thinking, wow, it's really getting real. And obviously, some players couldn't make it because of various reasons, footballing reasons.
Yeah,
Chan couldn't make it because of college at the time, and I remember it was during our half-term period. Even if it was a college day, I still would have been there. There's no chance I was missing that game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There was no chance of missing that game. So I think it was an early meet-up. I don't know, I think it was like 6 or 7 in the morning. I've never been up at this time in my life, unless I'm going to like, I'm traveling abroad or somewhere. So it wasn't even so much. It was just the whole day, literally. Like,
amazing.
The early meet-up. Got in the van, we were driving up there, banter's going off in the coach. We stopped off for a little pit stop, little coffee. For the first day, for that whole day, I felt like a professional footballer. Like, just the day in itself. It was mad. It was the coach, do you know what I mean? Everything. And we got there, and I'm thinking, no, we're actually playing at Villiers there. And
it was the gates.
It was the gates, bro. Yeah, it was the gates, yeah.
And then you're thinking, this is like, I'm a guy from South East London, mate. Do you know what I mean? I don't get out much of the area. I'm in Birmingham.
Mad.
Do you know what I mean?
Mad.
And I'm looking at a stadium, yeah.
One of the most iconic stadiums in England as well.
Like this stadium is on like TV every week on Match of the Day. That I sit there in my boxes and I'm watching Match of the Day. I'm outside the stadium. And then it's the way the stadium's even set up, the stairs, and I was just like, I felt like I was Gladiator. You know when Gladiator's walking up the Coliseum and all the...
Yeah.
It's mad. So we've got in now. Like, obviously, we all got our waters and our bits, and then we're walking through. I was like, no, I started getting nervous. I was thinking, I don't want to play no more. I'd rather just sit here and just admire it. Then, you know what I mean? It started getting real. Got into the change rooms. Then we saw the other teams. Like, we saw Everton and everyone started speaking in their own language. I heard some Evertonians speak. I was like, bro, why do you speak like that? But I'm from South East. I didn't even know people like that. Do you know what I mean? The whole dialects was all different. I was thinking, no, it's getting real. Now, I think they spoke to us. I think the Premier League who hosted the Kicks Premier League who hosted the whole event, they spoke to us how the day's going to run. And then they allowed us to go on the pitch. And that's when I set foot on it. Like, and it was
the holy grail.
Flat.
Yeah.
It was just flat. I was thinking my boots are gonna sink into this grass nice. And then we got ready. Then we started, and then it was just nerves, man. It was just crazy. Like literally every game we played was just mental. Like every game had its own story. Like there was no. The craziest thing is, that was the hardest tournament I've ever played in.
Yeah.
Like literally, I can't even lie to you. I'll be totally honest to you now. I didn't think we were gonna get that far. Like there was no way. I thought we're getting that. Even our group was hard. Like we played Everton. When we played them, they were they were just smashing boards. They were just tough in the tackle. And But I think our natural ability just got us over the line. And literally, even the group stages that we had were hard, man. We had some tough figures. Aston Villa, big, tough lads, just strong, physical. And we didn't have too much sort of physical attributes apart from Dwayne. We all sort of like.
That's one. This has one just to go from that, and I've seen Sir to butt in. I think what we did have, we had the badge.
Yeah.
What a lot of boys, even now, even when I do some of the college games, the community academy stuff, when they play, and I'm like, guys, gentlemen, I think we knew what Millwall meant to the footballing world. So we couldn't go to any tournament and not turn up. Do you know what I mean? We knew no matter what it was, we have to represent London, one, representing South London, two, representing the badge. I mean, so it's just like you don't turn up to games or you don't turn up to anywhere and, do you know what I mean, bend over, mate. You fight till the end. So I think that was one thing we knew and we had together. So go on, Hassan.
Yeah, exactly what Vic was saying, and I think our ability and our sort of natural arrogance put us through, man. Do you know what I mean? Even going through the group stage was as tough as it is. And then we started getting them. I just remember the build up. Then we got to the quarterfinals and we played Arsenal. Yeah, so literally we got to Arsenal quarterfinals and I'm buzzing now. So we got out of the groups playing Arsenal, and then literally within I kid you not, I think it was a minute and a half. We were 2-0 down, and they played exactly like Arsenal. I thought Cesc Fabregas was on the pitch. I thought Daniel Thomas was on the pitch. Like literally, it was just duck, goal. I'm like, oh my days. Then again, duck, then goal. And that natural arrogance, that sort of Southeast London Mill drive we had in us, we pulled it back again, 2-2, then 3-2, bang. Yes, through. Arsenal, see you later. No one likes us, mate. On to the next. You know what I mean? Can't remember who we had next. I think quarterfinals, then it was Fulham. Oh my days. That one was just, I think we ended up winning 5-3. Yeah. I think they just lost their heads. Yeah. They just lost their heads after a while.
Yeah, they were flying tackles and all that.
Yeah, it's just getting crazy. I don't think the rest helped them that day as well. They tried to fight the ref.
Yeah.
I think they left the kid.
Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah.
I think they tried to take the ref home. So literally,
he hasn't been seen since May 2010. That poor fella. But yeah, no.
No, it's great because I knew a few of the boys that played for Fulham, so I gave the boys a quick debrief on what they're like, and there was a few tough ones. There was one called Dane. I'll never forget Dane. But yeah, anyway, we ended up winning 5-3, and then it was the mighty one. It was the final itself. So we're all buzzing. Adam's buzzing. Tom's buzzing. Gaz is buzzing. All the coaches are buzzing. We're like, this is it. Like we're here for a reason. Do you know what I mean? We ain't here on just like luck. We've earned it. Yeah. Literally now, I could see the cup right there. Like all the teams I've stayed back to watch. Some of them have left. The ones that just didn't care and they probably live far than that. But literally they were all watching. So we had a little crowd. And the atmosphere was mad. And then literally, and now we're all looking to the management, like, who's going to start? Like, you're going to start me? Literally, I thought I was all right. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't worried if I started or not because I think I bagged the old 11 goals. Sorry.
How many has?
11. Sorry, but not sorry. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, starting lineup's been called out. We're out. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, this is it. The game was just, it was crazy. They were quite strong and athletic at the time. I think I still got the pictures. Hopefully we can get some pictures.
No, that's what I was looking for.
Do you know what I mean? Hopefully, look.
I still got them, boys. Yes.
Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, that's
there
like,
we go.
that gives me goosebumps. See, that's what a day, yeah. I've still got all the pictures as well, boys, to be fair. I'll send them over one by one. So you've got...
Yeah, no, definitely. If you can throw them in the video as well, so anyone that's watching, you know what I mean, they can see exactly what we're going through. But yeah, man, it's just a hectic game. I think it was just like 1-0 down in like seconds. Obviously, going back, I didn't want to pause Vic. I tried to pause him when he was speaking, but he didn't allow me to. So this is my chance. So whoever's watching this video, don't pause me now. Whoever's watching this video would have seen this guy speaking about he's Mr. Tough Guy. I used to love tackles. I do tackles, okay? This is a guy that spoke about tackles for the last 10 minutes when he had his chance, okay? So he's given a debrief on how he plays football, okay? So we had this one winger on that played for Watford. Strong, quick, very direct. He was the sort of player that would line you up, probably shake his hips, shake his shoulders, and literally push it and go line. He's 1-on-1 against Vic. Vic loves the odd battle and loves side tackle. Anyway, he takes Vic's. There was a rule where you weren't allowed to slide tackle, but knowing Vic, he don't adhere to rule anyway. So I was expecting him to take him out. He didn't. The guy scored 1-0. Okay. Then he's done the same thing again, 2-0. And then I think he tried to do it again. Then it was 3-0. Anyway, and then Vic only tackled when he thought it was necessary to tackle. Anyway, luckily I pulled it back again. Shock. It was a corner, low corner came in, pass near post, bang, 2-1. And then I can't remember who scored the second one. And then it's 2-2 literally. And then it comes to the deciding moments, penalties. I said, listen, I'll take the fifth penny, just because if it came down to it, where it's the last penny, I've got that sort of weight on my shoulders where I'm confident in scoring. Okay? But sadly, we didn't get to that point because all my colleagues decided to miss their pennies, Vic being one of them, and a few other peers. And then sadly, we didn't win that tournament. We went home.
And I think, do you know what's funny? I feel like that Kicks Cup moment, because that was my first Kicks Cup as a coach. That Kicks Cup moment kind of defines the history of Millwall Premier League kicks at the Kicks Cup. Near misses, near moments, close missing, close chances, decisions that may not have gone away, that should have gone away. But as a whole, it's something we always look forward to every year, as whether players, as staff, or as I'm sure other communities trusts do as well. But the Kicks Cup is like a pinnacle of the year. And the fact that was at Villa Park, I guess, kind of makes it the defining moment of a lot of the people that attended their Kicks moment, because not everyone gets the opportunity to play at Villa Park.
No, definitely. So that's an opportunity that I'm forever gonna that's forever gonna be with me until the day I pass. You know, and what an experience! I can tell anyone that I've played at Villa Park. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's unreal, man. And that's how many years ago was that?
In May. In 2 weeks' time, it's 10 years. 10
years, and I could still remember. I could probably even remember the meal deal I had. We went. I think it was M&S.
M&S. Yeah.
M&S, and it's just crazy, man. And then we left with a runners-up medal. They gave us like some Velcro stuff from Nike that Vic decided to steal off me, but that's another conversation that we'll have.
Shocking.
So he missed a penny. He didn't tackle when he wanted to tackle. Then he stole my Velcro Nike Pro stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. This is everything. He left it in Birmingham. That was his problem. You know what I mean?
Vic, I've heard you still got it. It's in one of your drawers. It's like a relic with holes in it. That's what someone told me that. I don't know.
But I think just with that football, even just sport in general, memories, man. You know what I mean? Memories that will live forever. You know what I mean? Memories that will live forever. People that will always live forever in your stories and in your mind. So, what a game. What a game.
Yeah, what a
Pleasure
game.
to be a part of it. Do you know what I mean? Pleasure to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, I think...
That's without saying... Go on, Rolt.
Go on. Finish. Go on.
Just even... the Bellingham sessions, when we started the sessions over at Bellingham. The Friday night that we got going over there, there was a team called Youngers, mate. when I say these boys came and they terrorised.
I know what team you're talking about. Yeah, I saw them play before. Yeah, brilliant.
They used to score some goals, celebrations just used to go wild. Yeah. Over 100 participants. Do you know what I mean? Just down in a like a 9-a-side cage at the leisure centre. It's just a program just amazing to be a part of. So it creates some amazing memories.
Yeah, no, I think I've got three memories. I'll be brief with it. Practical, like personal, and sort of like from an operational stance. Yeah. So the practical one is Villa Park by a million miles, just simply because, like what Hass said there with the detail, the whole day, the getting together, the travel, the banter on the coach, getting there. By the way, what we didn't speak about was that we installed the fear of God into people because of our presentation. The kits that we had, it was the classic kit. It was cold. It was just like, so it was our presentation, it was the togetherness, and just the quality and the application of you boys was just fantastic. Yeah, Vic didn't take the bookings, and we've come away with a runners up medal. But the end of the day, that day was fantastic. And on the pictures of the day, there's one where there's a distant shot and you can see us all like shaking hands with the scoreboard in the background. That picture's just amazing because Villa Park. The last time I went to Villa Park prior to that day was Arsenal '99. For the FA Cup in the FA Cup semi-final replay. That was the reality of it. So it was an unbelievable day. So practical, it was that. Sort of from probably from an operational point of view, it was probably just building sessions up with all the staff, with you boys, building projects up and getting them to levels where, you're giving other young people an opportunity to access this fantastic project. So from an operational point, that was massive for me. That was brilliant because without your input, it wouldn't have happened. Because I relied heavily on Gaz, to start projects up, even though he was back and from Leicester, and he's a credit to everything he's done and what he's achieved. And yourself, boys, giving you opportunities, throwing in the deep end, which is what I'd done. I knew you was capable of dealing with it, but that from an operational standpoint, that was a proud moment. And I think from a personal thing, I sort of touched on it earlier. It's just seeing you all doing what you're doing now. For me, that's really good, and being able to see you develop, and being able to catch up with you and talk things through and all that. That's a very proud moment for me. And Chan comes into that little bracket as well. And and I think it's just, and that just summarises Kicks, I think, for me, just everything. And I think on that note, just to wrap up, lads, what's the ambitions? What are your prospects, and what do you want to? What's your plans going forward?
I'd probably say my plans are probably just sort of keep the chain going, keep influencing. My job is sort of just trying to sort of narrow down. Like, my job is to make you better than you were the previous day. If I could do that, then I'm happy with that. Do you know what I mean? There's a few things I want to get together. So once I'm brainstorming and get them all together, should be good. Don't want to say anything too early, Don't want to jinx it.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
It's quality. What about yourself?
With things that I've done in the past, in the last couple of years, is really catapulted me to a position where my network is a lot broader now, and I'm able to pick up the phone and speak to different people and brainstorm and get ideas and how to improve what I'm doing and help others. That's the main thing about it. No matter what role I'm in, no matter what I'm doing, is to be able to help other human beings, in life in general, even away from sport. Yeah. Obviously, through sport, free sport, and then it leads into life, the mental state, the well-being, how to improve in their discipline. Do you know what I mean? So it's just whatever it is, as long as it helps and improves people day by day. Like Has said, that's the main push, and that's the main goal.
Yeah, no, definitely, I love that. Gaz, what about yourself? What's your plans for obviously Kicks and obviously yourself, and what your priorities are going forward?
firstly, Kicks just continue the elevation of the program in as many ways as possible. Obviously, we're in a period now where it's quite tough because it's a lot of more so online engagement, and you have to be very careful with that. At the same time, sort of the remote engagement isn't, close in proximity in terms of. So it's tough in that regard, but it's opened up some other doors and avenues for us, which we'll hopefully go into at another time. And for myself, I guess just to continue to improve as a person. And then in many facets in terms of my character, in terms of who I am, my morals, and what I do for my job as a whole. That's that, really and truly. And obviously, I just want to say thank you to Hassan, Vic, and Tom for hosting. This is an idea that we sort of come up with. Thank you, man. Thank you, lot. Quite off the cuff, really. Tom and Richard probably discussed it first, and it's become what it is, and we're looking to make this bigger and better. But I think what a great start to it really is to have two people that came to the program, that live in the area, that now work on the program. I'm not trying to take away Tom's outro, but just want to thank you guys for your contribution to the community, to the Kicks program, and obviously to the podcast today, because we're looking to make this something quite special. Whether it gets 20 views or 20,000 views, it's more so about telling our story and being able to tell our stories. And you guys were a big part of that. So,
thank you, man.
And just to wrap up, gents, Vic, can you just tell the inquiring viewers, just sort of where you're going to be playing next season? Where can they, if they want to come down and watch you, if they're local, where are you going to be at?
I'll most probably be at, I'd probably say a 90% chance I'll be at Crave Valley. It's nice and local. It's in Otim.
Cool.
Feel free to come down and watch. Fixtures are online, so if you go on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, Instagram, just type Crave Valley. They got a load of information on there in regards to fixtures, games, and if I'll most likely be down there. As I said, there's a 90% chance I'll be there. So listen, if you feel like you want to come and speak, I'm free. I don't bite. Just say Hass, introduce yourself, and we'll get speaking. Yeah,
brilliant, love that. Vic, what about yourself? You got the Stingrays on next year, or what? What's happening?
No, yeah, I'm going to be playing, but that's with football playing is always just on the back burner. But my team, I'm going to take my team into the under-16s. Rocker Juniors, based in Southwark, this season. Their last schoolboy age group. So if you've got any brothers or young people who want to play football, who want to get involved, that are going to be in year 10 or year 11, do you know what I mean? They can come right down. And obviously I'll be playing as well and doing some coaching bits with the seniors as well.
Yes.
So the Sunday we're going through. We'll be playing on Sundays and Sunday.
Good. What quality?
Rocker Junior.
Good. Make sure you tune in. That's Gaz. You got the boots on next year?
With my mates, nothing serious though. I'm too old for that now, man. I leave that to the Hassan Ibrahim. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'll
leave that to the Hassans.
I'll make sure I'll be getting down to as many games next season, gents. I will not be taking football for granted at all after this period. I've missed it. So I'll be keeping tabs. But gents, listen, from me to everybody else, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, man.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Stay safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And also, if you want another opportunity for a podcast, all things life and football, Cheeky Chats podcast, like, comment, subscribe.